Blessings, beloveds. It's Lori Ann Spagna here with you today. I want to chat briefly about the end of year wrap up, which we are, this is it, right? I'm in the last 24 hours as I record this. By the time you get this, the year will already be in the new year. But I want to talk about a little bit about that and the predictions for the new year. Of course, you probably, if you regularly open my newsletters or if you interact with me on Facebook, you will likely already know that every year I do a sort of a predictions webinar. That's mostly about the themes we're dealing with, overall themes for the upcoming year. And this year it's a little different because we're also including energy healing support to support us in the year ahead. So I just want to address these things briefly. I want to start a little with the end of year wrap up, because even though the year, by the time you get this, will already be in the new year, understand this if you don't already know it. Humanity is in a massive transformational period of time. This has often been called Ascension. It's really way beyond Ascension, because Ascension is just part of the journey, where different people define that differently, and I don't want to go too deep into it right now, but Ascension is just part of the awakening journey. Really, even after Ascension, there's integration, and integration is where you start living in the world and realizing that your own enlightenment can serve, right, the greater good. So you start interacting in the world in a whole new way. But that deserves a much longer in the peak of it right now. And this is where, we're starting to realize as a collective that the old paradigm, not only is it more than broken, it really cannot fix itself. It will not fix itself, and it's not meant to be fixed. It is meant to be transformed. And the way it gets transformed is through our inner transformation. And so this old paradigm that was based on, really it was based in these old operating systems that were all about they were all about the experience of duality from the perspectives of unconsciousness, from the realms of unconsciousness, and the exploration of what existence was or consciousness was from the unconscious. So we were all unconscious. You see, now we're all starting to wake up, but through the awakening process, one of the most important tools that anyone can have, is discernment. I need to talk about this a little bit more because people really don't get it. They really don't. And it's no one's fault. No one's wrong for this. It's just that I have seen so much lack of discernment. So we want to talk about this because as we awaken out of this experience, old paradigm experience of total unconsciousness that allowed us to expand consciousness by being so unconscious, because how could we possibly expand consciousness from the perspective of the omniscient, right? From a unification with Source, where you are really connected in a sense of to omniscient awareness and consciousness. No, it's impossible from that perspective because it knows everything and is aware of everything. And even in the oneness with it, one has access to infinite knowledge, infinite wisdom, infinite consciousness, right? So this game, this old paradigm game of expanding consciousness through the exploration of consciousness from being unconscious, required in that game all kinds of things that we were just not aware of, right? Everything in the realms and depths of unconsciousness, which includes all kinds of deceit and manipulation and secrecy and lies and coercion and misinformation and disinformation. I can't tell you, this game, it's almost to the point where it's so ridiculous. The degree of mis and disinformation, lies, deceit, etc. And the more you wake up, the more you start realizing, really, you start to realize like, nobody knows anything if they're still operating based on their brain, just from their brain. So let me explain this, because the development of discernment maybe starts in the brain, but really true discernment true discernment is developed through the heart consciousness, the heart muscle, the heart brain. Yes, the gut brain too, the gut brain, the gut intelligence, but it is not something that can be learned in the brain. This is because the brain does not really have the full capacity for true discernment. It has logic, it has rationality, it can be rational, but it cannot truly know truth through brain alone. This is why it is so important for us to be developing the heart brain, and yes, the gut brain, but really our strength is through the heart. Now, here's a great example of this. I'm going to talk some more about discernment because, for years and years and years, I've been in this professional arena as, a healer, a mentor, a coach, an animal communicator, an energy worker, a spiritual teacher, guide, catalyst, mentor. And I never portray myself as a guru, never, because I know I'm a human. I'm a star seed, if you like that languaging too, that's true, but I understand I'm working through issues just like everybody else on earth, right? So the point is that I have been in this arena professionally now for such a long time. For so many years, I was involved in circles that were exploring consciousness through like the awakening of, even in the conspiracy circles. And I have sat next to people because I'm so psychic and I have developed so much discernment through the heart center. I have sat on panels with people who I knew were just like mis and disinformants. Right, this is where people cannot tell the difference. Okay. So many people, to make my point, so many people think that they're learning discernment through their brain, and they really can't tell the difference between misinformants, disinformants, and lies and BS. And they write me emails like, these comments are so ridiculous that what people are being told and what they are being led to believe through these misinformants, disinformants, conspiracy circles, and the truth that everyone has to ask themselves to find truth is, am I truly practicing a spiritual path, not through the brain alone, not just by learning through the left brain, and not just through light meditation or, manifestation and visualization. No, one must go much, much deeper. One must go much, much deeper to get to true discernment, because through the Sacred Heart Center, one can know truth. One can know truth. But most humans, especially people in the conspiracy circles, especially people who are just learning through the left brain, they have not, if they're not truly incorporating practice combined with energy, healing, and transformation, practices combined with deep transformational meditation, even basic breath work alone won't really do it, although that will help. The discernment to know truth is so important right now. This is my point. I hope I'm making it well enough, because I'm just kind of sharing to help you understand, because as this old year wraps up, and again, by the time you're listening to this, it will be the new year, because I'm actually recording this on the last day of the year. And as we move into the new year, we will again be required to continue to develop our discernment. There is just more ridiculous mis and disinformation, and people are not being taught or told truth. And then people sort of follow these conspiracy circles, and they think that they know what they're talking about, because those circles basically tend to attract people who are looking for, what's the right word? Let me just ask. Drama, high drama. And so they get actually less discerning somewhere in there, because they start to feed off the drama of the sort of elevated desire for things to be extreme. And so the more sort of BS they're fed, they almost like feed off that in those circles. And then what happens is, to a certain degree, they sort of lose their ability to discern what's true and not, especially because in so many of those circles, they're really generally not practicing spiritual practice. And I get lots of comments around this time of year from people who think like, I don't need to go into it. But what I want to say is that this predictions call that I do, I enjoy it because for me, I want to know. And I spend a lot of time and energy exploring the direction of humanity. And I spend a lot of time and energy applying energy to where God's will would direct it, and learning how to be a servant to the divine and utilize my consciousness and my vehicle, my physical body vehicle, to allow the divine to use me. I do this in light worker groups and on my own as well, to use me so that I can really be of service to God. And so I explore the agenda of the light, which is not discussed about very much at all on Earth. Everybody's all in the drama of what the conspiracy people are going to do, which I think is just a joke. Really, that's just another, personally, that's just another diversion, distraction. And I get these things, someone's going to get crowned king and this ridiculous stuff. The light brigade is here. Like, so ridiculous. People don't seem to really understand what's really happening. And the way you're going to find it, this is what I really want to impress upon you, is through practice in coming into recognizing that you, all of us, have direct access to Source. But it must be cultivated, because the layers and lifetimes, thousands and thousands and hundreds and thousands of years of living in this game of the old paradigm, exploring consciousness from the depths of unconsciousness. We have lost the connection between the heart and the brain. And we have lost the connection between the left brain and the right brain. They are working, for most humans, in a sense, independently. They are not working in harmony together the way they're meant to, and then unified with the heart, the sacred heart center. So we have to redevelop that. That cannot be done without sacred practice. That has to be done through deep meditative states and in collaboration with the divine and with the non-physical realm of beings who specifically and directly are serving the light, which means the expansion of consciousness and which means the continuation of human evolution, right? Because the dark agenda is basically to restrict human evolution, to basically, in some cases, stop it and or thwart it. In a lot of cases, there is deliberate attempt to do that. Now, I'm not going to go into the dark and the light. I've done a lot of channeling on this, but what I want to say is that when I go into the 2024 predictions, yes, we cover world events, but it is not from the 3D perspective, what's going to happen, although we get a lot of that. It's much more about the evolution of humanity and the agenda of the light and what God's plan is and how the light is working for and serving humanity and how we can also support and play our roles in God's plan. And you don't have to like the word God. You can choose another word. I get that's kind of a charged word for some people. Mother, Father, Source, the divine, whatever is your right alignment with that. But the point is that, you see, it's up to us to come into alignment with this source. And that's where we can know truth. It's not from learning it from some other person who's just a bunch of hearsay. Hearsay this, hearsay that. And it's not just about, drama predictions. I really don't find that to be as really deeply rewarding and fulfilling. So that is the direction for the call. Now, when we unpack this, we do address things that are happening on Earth. And typically, I don't know, I recently did a channeling. Most of it's channeled. Although not all of it, because some of it is themes in general that are clear writing on the wall, like astrological themes or numerology themes. But overall, it's channeled. But I recently did a channeling that I thought was so good. It's in my channeling membership that people can access when they become part of the membership. But it was all about the weather patterns. And recently there were all kinds of weather patterns that had happened, fires in Maui, and there were lots of incredible things that were coming up to the surface. And the channeling was so fascinating about what came through. And I thought it was so fabulous. It wasn't something that I would have known with my brain. It wasn't something that I could have revealed to myself through thought or inquiry in that way. And what I also love about the channeling is my particular channeling, it's not coming, which many people, when they channel, they're accessing information from 4D. Many of the famous channels, The reason I say they're accessing it from 4D is because they've learned how to access information from 4D, which is really the astral realm. These beings are not always necessarily serving the light, even though in some cases they may present as if they are. Sometimes they're just tricksters having fun. So one of the things I've really cultivated in myself is the ability to really have that discernment to only be working with beings who are of the light. And this is not something that I can do through the brain. It doesn't happen through the brain. It happens through the Sacred Heart Center. So it's a much deeper, pure level of consciousness, right? It's not just, 4D astral realm. There's all kinds of non-physical beings that kind of play and misrepresent there. And I think a lot of people don't necessarily know the difference. This is why I say discernment is going to become even more important in the years ahead. More and more. It already is. We saw if you didn't have discernment in 2020, you could make some devastating mistakes with your own body. 2021, If you didn't have discernment, you could just become a prisoner in your own home. If you didn't understand discernment, if you didn't understand how to work with the divine, this will continue, this theme of who is your master, who are you giving your power, consent, and authority to, who and what organization, what person. In any case, all right, I'm going to abstain from going into that, but I hope this makes sense, because I was resistant this time around to offering predictions webinar this year, which is part of why I announced it so late, because I'm not really interested in all the drama of the external world. I've only ever really been interested in the elevation of consciousness, but I love truth. I love truth so much, and I prefer truth that is real, that is something that I can know, not through the brain, but through full body knowing. On a side note, I'll just say this real quick. I was on the beach the other day because, of course, I'm in Florida, and I brought my dog there, and a lot of times I'll chat with other people on the beach who aren't necessarily into all this metaphysical stuff, and someone that I started chatting with, oh God, his dog was so amazing, but I indulged in the conversation for a while, but it didn't take me long to realize this guy's just a total skeptic and cynic, and those are the people on earth I least like dealing with, because the skeptic and the cynic, they're not interested in truth. They actually unconsciously don't realize, they just block themselves from truth. They have no desire to know truth. What they have a desire is to be right, or to somehow prevent themselves unconsciously from knowing truth by arguing, debating, being a skeptic, being a cynic. There's no open-minded inquiry. And this is what I want to say, is that we can never know truth if we don't have open-minded inquiry. The moment we think we know everything, the moment we think we are sure and certain of something, we've blocked out the potential for something higher. Higher meaning more true, more accurate, or more expanded, or more elevated, or beyond the limitations of the current limiting perspective that we have. So I think this is very important when we're dealing with predictions and where humanity's going and what's ahead, because this is why I'm fascinated about this. I love exploring the unknown. If you followed me for any amount of time, you will know I have said this many, many times. I love the exploration of the unknown. I have almost zero interest in regurgitated information that 20 people have taken and then escalated through hearsay to add drama to some kind of conspiracy circle that is mostly mis and disinformation. And I can tell you, over the years, I have been in those circles, and they're just a diversion. So even though some of that information comes up in our calls, it's really mostly as it's related to the expansion of consciousness, the elevation of humanity, and our roles here as humans in this physical world. And if you're listening to me, you have a role to play. One more piece, just about the conversation with the person on the beach, because he was like so sure that all of the stuff that I was talking about was just absolutely, like, he couldn't even get anywhere near the idea that, for example, namology is one of my fun tools. I like to play with namology. Everything has vibration. Everything has energy. Like, it's so basic to me. He couldn't even get beyond that, and he wasn't even willing. He was like, no, names are just letters. They don't have any meaning. And he couldn't get past the idea that numbers, like numerology, numbers are just numbers. There's no meaning in it. And at a certain point, you're like, oh, this person's not even interested in knowing anything else anyway. because he's just decided he already knows based on the limited consciousness he has. And he's so certain about what he knows that he's choosing unconsciousness. And this is a person who really was really believing, like he understood certain things, right? So all I'm saying is that when we come into these new periods of time, linear time, where new energies are shifting and changing, for example, 2023 in numerology is a 7-year. The 7 has themes to do with peace and war, for example. And we saw a war outbreak, right, last year. We're shifting from a 7-year into an 8-year. Well, 8 has entirely different themes. Entirely. And so that shifting is going to play out in our reality. And the question is, if you're super conscious, you know how to navigate it when you see it. If you're not conscious, you get stuck in the tidal wave of it. You get taken in by the chaos of it. So it's just an example, right? But we have to be willing to be open-minded. That is my point. We have to be willing to recognize that we're at a pivotal time on Earth where to say something like you know it or you have the answers, that is going to block you. You're certain of something, that's going to block you, because right now, with the escalation of consciousness that's going to just continue, the fabric of human consciousness is going to escalate and elevate so exponentially in the years ahead that we cannot begin to say with any kind of certainty what we know for sure. But what we can do that brings certainty is to tap into an infinite source that we have never known how to tap into very well in years prior, where we can get incredible insight, guidance, wisdom. And when we are really, truly connected with that source, really aligned, full body knowing is a totally different game. I want to give one more example about this whole conversation. I hope I'm making sense here. A few years ago, when I guess I can't quite remember what year it was, but this was back when, back in the years when Trump was, I think he was in office already. Oh no, it was prior to his making it into office. That's right. And I think I was in Sedona at that time, living in Sedona. And everybody was so sure that this guy was a light worker and he was going to save the world and he was going to be reelected. I watched all these conspiracy people, and I knew inside. I knew. Right? This is the beauty of working with Source. You can know all kinds of things. It's a different kind of knowing. It's not through the brain. And when you start having this kind of knowing, a kind of divine certainty sets in. A kind of divine certainty that the rest of humanity hasn't developed or cultivated yet. It's available to us, but because they're still in that old paradigm, starting to wake up, but learning only through the left brain, there's a think they know, but not a real divine certainty, right? So this is what I'm offering to you. And this is why in this upcoming webinar, we're going to be using for the first time in this webinar, I usually do these healings on the DNA activation webinars that I do. But this time we're going to bring in healing energy because it's through the energy shifting. It's through the heart-centered activations. That's the new way of learning. It's totally different. It's new paradigm learning. That's when divine certainty comes in. That's when divine knowing comes in. And this kind of divine knowing is very, very unique because it still knows it's always a knowing that there's always more, always new, and it's always changing, because everything is always changing. Even though things may cycle and repeat, for those who don't really embrace new change, they'll have cycle, repeat, cycle, repeat, cycle, repeat. But there's infinite change always happening at the same time. So this kind of knowing comes through the heart center. That's really what I'm emphasizing here. I hope this is making sense. And in any case, this is what I'm inviting you to our webinar for the 2024 predictions webinar with energy healing. I would love to see you there. It's on the website, so if you don't have the link, I will make sure I put it in below, but it's under the live events tab, and it says 2024 predictions under the work with me, 2024 predictions and global energy forecast. The date is Thursday, January 11th, which is kind of a sacred day, right? 111, nice, 3 1s. In any case, that's how I was guided to pick it on that day. I hope you'll join us. You can certainly register. Make sure you do so before the rate goes up. It's a very short window on this because it'll still be available in replay, but there will be an increased rate. So get in there before the rate increases. Once it goes up, I can't go back and change it because it's all automated. I hope you will join us and you will start to get more of a sense of starting to have a knowing that is different from old paradigm knowing. This is not just something to be taught through the brain. Yeah? All right, I think I made that point. I am wishing you all a very happy new year and welcoming you into 2024 because, again, as you receive this, you will already be the new year. And I hope that you have enjoyed your holiday celebrations. There are a lot of exciting things. I want to make one last comment that I'm really excited about into the new year, and that is the expansion experience. I did this last year, in the final quarter of last year. We did a 9-day masterclass. This year it's going to be an 8-day masterclass. I am so excited. It's where I get to just teach my heart out and share. It is very progressive. Meditations and guidance and so much progressive information available for all of you, free of charge. You do need to be registered to participate. I will share more about that too, but it is me getting to teach my heart out to really do and be of service and allow God, Source Creator, the Divine, and the Infinite to help us to expand our consciousness, to up-level. I hope you will register and join us. It is really exciting to me. It's my favorite thing when I just get this opportunity to share, to gift, and to support and assist you in your evolution, in your journey, and in the expansion of consciousness for humanity, the elevation of humanity's consciousness. It's where I get to share with all of you. So I hope you will register. I will make sure the link is available for you for that as well. If you hear this and you don't find the links, just head over to my Facebook page and type in the word expansion, and I will make sure I share the link with you. With that, by the way, there's a whole new, it's all new, it's a whole new topic area on the expansion experience, and there's an entirely new workbook as well for you once you register. So just make sure you do that. It starts January 22nd. Yes, I'm so excited about that. So I look forward to experiencing this with you in the new year. First, of course, is the upcoming predictions call on January 11th, and then is the expansion experience. So excited, January 22nd. Facebook me and type the word or DM me and type the word expansion, and I will be glad to make sure you get the gifted access to that masterclass. It is full of just extremely progressive content, and you will love it. And it's all new, brand new, always what I am guided to share and teach and offer as, as a servant of the light, really. Okay, I hope this is helpful. Happy New Year to all of you. I love you so much. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Until next time, farewell for now. Bye-bye.